So hello, it's great to be here today. I'm going to start off by asking a couple questions. And if you'd like to raise your hands, that works, or if you prefer just take a mental inventory, that's fine as well. So how many of you have ever had a day where you feel like you're on a hamster wheel? So you're just going through the motions and you lay down at night and you're like, what did I even accomplish? Okay, seems fairly common. Thank you for sharing. And then secondly, how many of you have ever had a day where you feel like you're going through the motions? And so your agenda's full, your schedule's jam-packed, but there are times throughout the day where you're like, why am I even doing this anymore? Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing. I think it's very common for all of us. We can tell by the show of hands in the room. As part of the human experience, what I found is we encounter these things throughout our lives. And at some times in life, they might be more frequent, and other times less frequent. And I'm starting with this because it was these very feelings that were catalysts for me to really begin to explore tools for my own personal wellness. I worked for 6 years in the corporate sector as a private banker, and it was a great experience. I really loved the role, but about 4 years into that, something wasn't lining up. I'm getting promotions, I'm getting pay raises, but those feelings of being on the hamster wheel and going through the motion were like higher than they ever were in my life. And so I began to explore yoga and meditation, and I got certified actually to teach yoga while I was working full-time at the bank. It was a 200-hour program at night and on the weekends. And what I found through my yoga and meditation practice was I discovered mindfulness meditation. And it was really a tool for my own personal wellness, which was why I came to yoga and mindfulness and meditation, but it was also a tool for my own personal growth and professional development. As part of my yoga teacher training, that was when I really was inspired to switch sectors entirely. So I had spent 6 years in the corporate sector. I had really done a lot of work in my yoga teacher training around my core values and highest purpose, and I decided to make a career change into higher education. I found a great role at the time at Ohio State University to run a national model peer-to-peer financial wellness coaching platform. And so I really think that the yoga and meditation practice helped me, one, to not only identify that opportunity, so it really gave me the time and space to get quiet enough to hear my own voice and what might have been causing the hamster wheel feelings and going through the motions, but it also helped to give me tools to navigate a change that major. I think moving from 6 years in the corporate sector to a role in a student life, student wellness center at a major research institution, a wonderful university, was a really large transition. And I really attribute my ability to navigate that to a lot of my yoga and meditation practice. After 2 years at Ohio State, I realized again that it was time to make a switch. I had loved my job there, but then again, the hamster wheel feelings were starting to come back and going through the motions. I was inspired to become an entrepreneur and really start to share some of these tools and techniques that I had used throughout my career with others in a really more focused way. So today, that's what I do. I have a few different ventures that I run, and I still teach yoga and meditation 1 time a week at the studio where I was originally certified back in 2013. So with all that said, what I'd really like to leave with you today is an experience related to mindfulness meditation. And you can participate if you like. If you'd prefer just to observe, that's fine as well. But for this, all I'll need you to do is if you have the notebook they gave you and pen, if you wouldn't mind getting that out and putting it in your lap. I think it might be in your bags. And so mindfulness defined is simply the act of paying attention in the present moment without judgment. The act of paying attention in the present moment without judgment. So within that definition of mindfulness meditation, it doesn't say anywhere you must sit in a room with your eyes closed for 30 minutes with your legs crossed by yourself, right? That is definitely one form of meditation, and I think it's great. But mindfulness really can be integrated into our lives in extremely practical ways. And I think the definition I just said really speaks to that simplicity. So if we all have our notebooks out, what I would like to invite you to do right now is gently close your eyes if that's accessible. If you prefer not to, you can just take your gaze down towards the earth or the chair in front of you. And just becoming aware of your breath. So just noticing your breath cycle here, the gentle inhales and exhales of your breath. Feeling your feet heavy on the earth. Feeling your hips as they are supported by the chair beneath you. Feeling your shoulder blades against the chair behind you. And now I'm going to prompt you with a question, and you're just going to consider this for yourself. You won't be sharing. What was it that brought you to this TEDx today? So was there something in particular that you want to get out of this experience, perhaps to be inspired, to grow, to network? There's no right answer. Just calling to mind for yourself why you came here today, what your intention is. And now again, just coming back to your breath one more time here, just noticing your inhale and exhale. Good. So when you're ready, I'll just invite you to open your eyes, just allowing the light of the room to come to you. And now in the notebook in front of you, I'd like if you can draw a circle, please. And this circle we're going to divide into proportions to reflect the thoughts that were going through our mind throughout that simple exercise. And so as an example, you might choose to split the circle in half and then maybe like 2/4 at the top. And you can just do initials, you don't have to write full sentences, or you can do images. This is just for your own reference. So maybe half the time we were doing that, I was thinking about the traffic I sat in before I got there. And 1/4 of the time I'm thinking about that grocery list that I need to make for when I leave here. And 1/4 of the time I was actually thinking about why I'm here today. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer and there's no judgment here. So just becoming aware of what your thoughts were throughout that exercise. And again, like initials are fine, like if you know, this is really just for you, so if you know what it means, that'll work. And so now, I'd like to invite you to just take a look at that circle and see if there's anything on there, any thoughts you'd like to just choose to let go of for the rest of your time here at the TEDx. So is there anything on there that might be getting in the way of your objective for being here? So maybe a thought about, something that happened before you got here, or, you have to take your dog to the vet next week. Don't worry, we're not going to lose those thoughts, but maybe you just want to selectively choose which thoughts to keep with you for the rest of today. And now we'll turn to the next page in your notebook, a fresh page. I'll invite you to draw another circle. So this time, you can decide if you would just like it to be a circle with maybe 1 or 2 things written inside of it that you would like to focus on for the rest of your time at the TEDx. Or it could be quadrants too. So maybe, again, there's 2 halves. Half the time I'd like to focus on networking, and half the time I'd like to focus on the speakers. Whatever it is for you, just leaving on the other page those thoughts you'd like to consciously put aside while you're here today so that you can achieve your objective for coming to this TEDx. And don't worry, those thoughts won't be lost. So if it was something really important, like a doctor's appointment for next week or whatever, it's still on that other page for you to reference. Good. So we just did mindfulness meditation, and we started out with breath awareness. So breath awareness, just becoming aware of our breath, is something we can do anywhere at any time, which is what I love about it. Whether you're sitting in traffic, before you have to go into a meeting, it can really help to center us in the present moment. We did body awareness, so becoming aware of our feet on the floor, what we're sitting on. That is a really great tool for when we're in those places of being on a hamster wheel or going through the motions, because often when we're in those places, we're running in these circular patterns of thoughts. And the idea of mindfulness isn't necessarily that your thoughts are going to go away. It's just, can we slow those thoughts and come more into our body and in tune with our breath so that we can start to really make some conscious decisions in our life. And thirdly, we did thought awareness. So we became aware of our thoughts, right? We attempted to come focused on a thought of why we're at this TEDx today, and then we became aware of other thoughts that might have also been floating around in our mind. Once we became aware of these, we were able to consciously choose where we wanted to focus our time and energy. And I think this is what is a really powerful thing, is that when we can become aware of what's going on within us, we can start to consciously manage our time and energy in a way that's really aligned with our core values and highest purpose. So hopefully something I shared today has been helpful to you. Know that those can all be done in isolation, so you don't have to do the whole thing we did today. If the body awareness really resonated with you, by all means, that's an option. I really do feel that yoga and meditation has changed my life, not only in terms of personal wellness, but my own personal growth and professional development, and I'm really grateful to be able to share this message with you today. Thank you.